I'm Carl McCartney, Customer Experience Director for Les Mills, and I'm really excited about this next session, which is looking at how independent gym operators, owners are harnessing group training, group fitness to really enhance their offering. And I'm joined by three extremely professional, experienced, laughing. That's why I paused, just for you, Aaron. Experienced and professional gym operators that will share some of their stories. So whilst this is hosted by Les Mills, this isn't just about our products and programming. This is about real stories on how group training has influenced and impacted the success of some of these businesses. So I'm going to hand over to the team to introduce themselves. I'll start with Aaron on the end.
Hello.
Oh, it's only for the camera.
It's just for the cameras.
The top star, innit? So I don't know how to do a mic. Figured it was a mic.
The NR Fitness team have material already. That's good.
So Aaron Johnson, I'm the director of NR Health and Fitness Clubs. I have been in the industry for about 20 years, well, coming up to 20 years now. Started as a lifeguard, worked my way up into management. Actually met Nathan, the owner, as an apprenticeship in sort of the private health club, leisure clubs. Operated them in management for about 7 or 8 years. And we've been in with NR Health and Fitness Clubs. We operate 24/7 facilities on the outskirts of Norwich. Our model is more specific to towns with sort of larger populations. So we're stopping people in towns, going into city centres for a 24/7 and gym offering. So that's a bit about me.
Fantastic. Thanks, Aaron. Toby?
Very good. Yeah, so my name's Toby Wassell. I'm kind of coming at this from two angles today. So the Fit Club Redditch is my gym. We took it over from a failing club in 2019 at 400 members, managed to turn it around throughout lockdown, all that fun stuff, to get up to 2,000 today. Running a good operation, kind of changed the way we do business completely. It was a 24-hour club. Took it back to a standard leisure facility. We have 3 classrooms, soon to be 4, run 40 to 70 weekly classes, and have a big gym space. And then on the other side of it, I also work for a company called Ashbourne Membership Management. So we provide software and access control solutions to gyms up and down the UK and Ireland. And I think from that it gives a bit of a different perspective, kind of coming from 2 channels. So yeah.
Nice one. Thanks, Toby.
Thank you.
KJ?
Hi, my name's KJ Dixon. Again, 2 angles slightly today. So I'm performance manager at 315 Health Club, which we're based in Lancaster. We've got 6,000 members currently and 2,000 swimmers. So an all total fitness site, you can imagine the scale, but we are an independent gym. And then the other side is I consult for studios and swim schools. So again, 2 different sides of it today.
Great. Fantastic, thank you. So as you can see, we've got a really diverse panel in terms of experience and as operators. But I'm going to start with a question for you, Toby, if you could do. With Fit Club Redditch, could you share how group fitness fits within the Fit Club's core strategy and operations?
Yeah, so as I say, we do anywhere between 40 and 70 classes a week, depending on the time of year. Things like Ramadan, we'll do extended hours, do a few extra classes, so it kind of fluctuates. Amongst that is a really broad spectrum of classes. So our own self-produced stuff, your HIIT classes, a few combat style things, and then the holistic stuff, yoga, Pilates, soon to be reformer Pilates, and then a lot of Les Mills stuff as well. So that's kind of how that works. And then in terms of the strategy, we do a monthly fee, and depending on how many classes you want to access, essentially, that'll influence the amount you pay monthly. So your entry-level membership is a really kind of attractive price, but you're only going to get 1 class, and it goes all the way up to a premium membership, which includes an unlimited number of classes, 14 days bookings, and a few bits like that. That's all managed by our booking system, which kind of looks after those tiers for us, automatic waiting lists and everything like that.
Great. And you talk about those membership tiers there and people willing to pay more for classes. Have you seen a significant impact on revenue with that?
Yeah, so this is a big thing that we're planning at the moment. So I mentioned reformer Pilates. So we've always struggled to be able to offer a class that can be really truly classed as premium. Mm-hmm. So in the past, we've just done it on the number of classes. So with reformer Pilates, we feel that is something that you cannot argue. That is a premium class, very specialist instructors. And so we're going to really push that premium membership and then look to add more to that as we go down the line. But at the moment, we focus on booking restrictions, so like 7 days, 2 weeks, etc. a discount at the store, and then the number of classes that you're booking.
Great. So you're thinking about the premium tier having increased value as part of the membership.
Exactly.
Not necessarily just services. It's about the value that you provide.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think as time goes on, we'll kind of shoehorn more things into that premium membership and just trying to make it as enticing as possible. Over the last couple of years, we've had a pure gym and a 24/7 fitness open like next door. So we were in a great position, probably a little bit complacent. Memberships have, I wouldn't say they've tanked, but they've definitely taken a hit, a noticeable hit. And with that, we're looking more at yield. So how much we can draw from our existing membership base in terms of the revenue they bring in, and stuff like premium classes is what we're investing in.
Fantastic. Thanks, Toby. If I could switch over to Aaron next, just mentioned before around being a 24/7 facility. With that wide scope of usage throughout the day, how do you integrate group training or group fitness as part of that strategy?
So yes, thank you, Carl. We obviously have quite a big Group X offering. Some of our clubs we have as a minimum standard to doing sort of 40 classes a week. Some of the other clubs do sort of over 50 classes a week as part of their offering. We start earliest classes from sort of 6:30 in the morning. For when sort of people are then starting to arrive, and our latest classes tend to stem up to sort of 8 in the evening. We've looked at sort of various ways, and what we've been looking at is footfall a little bit at the moment, with footfall outside of hours. Only just recently done this as a bit of an insight, but we're getting a footfall of around about 39 people average coming in after 10 p.m. and before 6 o'clock in the morning. So that makes us think about considerations for things like Les Mills on demand and virtual classes, and how we can integrate it to make group fitness more inactive with people who are as part of a 24/7 facility.
Okay, great. And in terms of that usage, has that been a shift or a trend over a period of time, or is that just because you've looked at the insights recently?
This is, it's just a recent figure, what we've looked at from insights, and actually we're really keen as a business to actually where we can grow and what differences we can make. So we're always trying to get a little bit closer to the data so we can make decisions based on sort of data and our findings. So yeah, recently we've been looking at more insights, and yeah, it's a recent study over a couple of weeks, but yeah, it will be measured a little bit more closer as we go, so we can make some better decisions with future Group X and programming.
Nice. Thanks, Aaron. And just a question for KJ. If you've ever been to one of our independent gym events before, 315 Club is always well represented, and 315 is definitely recognised for being innovative in the space. So with 6,000 members, you've got to be innovative to stay relevant in the competition. But how have you leveraged group fitness to stand out from that competition?
So, well, that's it. We're always changing, always launching something new, which I think as independents is really important when we've got quite a lot of competitors around us who really harness group exercise and fitness really well as well. So we've got quite a competitive market. What have we done? So we've obviously redone studios, simple things, redone the studios, but launched new programs. 2023, we opened a brand new HIIT studio. So it's called Sweat Studio, High Intensity Boutique. That's the only boutique fitness studio in Lancaster at the moment. So that took us to the next stage. We recently, in September, so National Fitness Day is a big day for us, we launched Sculpt Studio, which is Reformer Pilates, but we're still with mat-based exercise in there as well. So we're just trying to keep ahead of those trends, which again is quite hard because in independence, obviously you're sole, you're not getting any funding. So we really try and just keep it fresh, and also instructor, so strict in our instructor training. You can have all the class on the programme you want, but if you haven't got the rock stars in that studio, it's not going to help. So we really work on our instructors and programme design. So obviously we work with Les Mills, and they do really well as well.
Great. So just touching on those instructors there, because I completely agree. It's not if you build it, they will come. If you build a studio, and you can have the best layouts, the best equipment, the best lighting AV, but it's really the rockstar instructors that build that. How did you approach that? How do you and the management team sort of push that up the agenda as an important factor?
So everyone probably sat here probably has a bit of an instructor issue now and again. It's quite hard to find those shining stars. So I've been there from day one, so I've been open 12 years, and we started with some really core people, and they have stayed. The better we found is apprentices, because we get to mould them. Don't get me wrong, we have some freelancers that come in and they're fantastic, but we do quite a 2-week induction process, even for our freelancers. They have to come in, go to all the different classes, work on front desk, they're in the swimming lessons to really understand our culture and what we're about. And they have to go to each other's classes as well. So say you're coming to teach body pump, that body pump teacher will be in a swimming lesson, and they will be in a spin studio, and they will be in a yoga. It's quite funny because some of the gym guys, don't obviously like the Zumba classes, and we had them on Reformer Pilates, but it's how we train them to be what we're about. And again, it's a great culture. It's what we are about. So that's how we go. But apprentices, because we get to mould them, we get to grow them and teach them how
so starting them early and building and growing them from
yeah,
within.
definitely.
And I love that idea. And it's one thing, if you haven't seen, we've been doing a lot of work with colleges and universities to sculpt the younger generation coming through from a Les Mills point of view. And we've got some great case studies that we can share with you on where we've taken some of those college students and pushed them out into local operators and give them the resource to go and teach. So I love that with what KJ's done at 315. Toby, if I can come back to you for a second. You talked about the large program that you have. You've got a really diverse range of classes. How do you make decisions to understand which classes or decide which classes you'll offer for your target member base?
Yeah, so we collect feedback in a few ways that kind of instigates how we improve our services and things like that. Every year we kind of treat our class program as on a yearly basis. There'll be changes along throughout that time, but we treat it as like a year rotation for major changes. So things like the Pilates Reformer Studio, for example. So we'll put out a big long form questionnaire once a year, open-ended questions. So it's time consuming to go through, but you get some really interesting perspectives and some really rich data from that. On an ongoing basis, we'll do a short form questionnaire, which is purely multiple choice questions sent out after every class, every PT session, all of that stuff. You'll get this short form questionnaire, really quick to answer, but over time we get some really interesting trends emerging from that as well. So, you talk about rockstar instructors, like knowing that, but also knowing if there's things that could be worked on the other end as well. And then what else do we do? So mystery shoppers, looking at like our process management. So it's all well and good when I come to the gym, the Hoover comes out and everyone, the smiling faces and all that stuff's great. But, sometimes a mystery shopper will show you that there's actually, problems elsewhere that probably need looking at. So just setting up a quick questionnaire. A lot of the time we'll give out a free day pass to someone that's never been to the gym before, set them up as a mystery shopper, and then they can come and give us some really interesting perspectives on our current class offering. And then finally, social listening. So this is a new thing that we've started doing, which is going out into the ether, into the internet, looking at like competitors' social media pages, Trustpilot reviews for competitors for ourselves, and seeing what people are saying when they don't necessarily know that we're listening or we're watching. So just setting up a spreadsheet, seeing if there's any patterns emerge with like certain types of sentiment about particular classes, about our offering as a whole really, but in particular it's really helpful for the classes.
Great. There's some absolute gold there in terms of how you would make those decisions. There's too many operators that I've worked with over the years, they'll speak to what I call the vocal minority, like the 10 members that have an opinion, and you base your decisions around those. And as Toby just said there, taking a wider base of feedback really enhances your ability to make the right decisions for the majority of the members, rather than your loyal Group X members, which are amazing, by the way, but generally 20% of your usage. They're not necessarily the majority that you're aiming for. Fantastic. And Aaron, if I can come back to you, have you noticed any significant changes since you've implemented some of the group classes that you have, and particularly some of your new openings? Have you seen any significant change in demographics or target audiences?
Yeah, so Group X has obviously been a massive part of our offering since we opened. As I said earlier, sort of 40 classes minimum, and some clubs are always growing and expanding their classes. I mean, in terms of demographics, we tap into quite a few just from the variation of classes. We do a lot of high intensity classes. We have such a range from high intensity, the Les Mills stuff to HIIT and the boot camps. Then we've actually, on the flip to that, we bring in external people for Pilates and yoga, etc. So we tap into a lot of demographics. I'm going to use Jack, actually, a new club manager, as one of our examples. He's just recently come in and he's brought in a chair fit class. Completely tapped into a very different demographic. If you look at some of our social media and our videos, the classes, the people are very different into their class than they would perhaps on a Les Mills. So we're always trying to innovate like that. In terms of retention, the figures are the same. With the clubs have the best class utilisation. There's class at Lowestoft and Attleborough, for example. They have lots more utilisation in their classes. Obviously, the retention rates are so much better because of that, and that obviously drives down our attrition percentage. But And lastly, to answer your question, we find with everybody who joins in with Group X, they're more likely to actually get involved with a lot more in the club, so likely to do challenges, much more likely to do competitions, etc. Even fill in things like member surveys. I think the more that you can engage with them, the more they will engage back. So
brilliant, thank you. And then coming back to KJ just for a second, you talked before about the impact of National Fitness Day. One of the things I love about 315 is whenever you look on any social media, there's a sense of community. There's a real community within the club, and for the last 12 years, as you've said, you've really built that up. Is there any specific examples that you have where group training or group fitness has really enhanced that community within the club?
Yeah, so I think obviously with 6,000 members, it's quite difficult to create a community. So it is communities within communities, and that's kind of what would go. So yeah, group exercise. Again, so we've got over 200 classes a week on our timetable, and if someone says, "Oh, who's your target market?" it is literally everybody. So I think sometimes we can really struggle to get that right as a community base. So Young at Heart is one of the really popular programs. It's over 60s, Young at Heart, obviously, and they've gone to like the Manchester Christmas markets last weekend and started to build up little communities within the classes instead. So you'll find, like, especially on a Friday morning, for example, we've got a 9:30 sprint and a 10:10 sprint, and that is a community within itself. Like, everyone goes to that class every single week for the people they're with. So we try to do it almost in classes rather than as a full. We can't do it with 6,000 members. So group exercises really help us harness that differently than a PT studio maybe would do.
Right, okay. And also, you have a much larger footprint, as you said. It's a big footprint of a club because it's a form of Total Fitness, and you've got community areas within community areas, not just your classes, but you've got an area for people to congregate after the class in terms of a coffee area and things. Yeah. Is there anything that you're looking at in the future to help build further communities without giving anything away to your competitors?
Well, yeah, no. We're always looking. We are always looking at doing stuff. Yeah, you've not seen a lounge actually, have you, since it's been done? So that was done last year now, so brand new lounge. People say it's like an airport, but I quite like an airport. It's quite a nice place to be. You're always going somewhere. And we have a cafe, so yeah, our airport lounge, let's call it. We've also put in a recovery, like a recovery wellness suite, I guess. It's 4 cryo chambers in there and hydro beds. So we're always looking at different areas. The squash community is quite a big one for us. So we've got 2 squash courts and a table tennis. So always trying to do different things within those. Currently, again, Young at Heart has been discussed, but the Reformer Studio has really become its own sense of community. I don't think we really anticipated for. We didn't think we'd get that sort of vibe from that class. So yeah, probably more days out, more specialised classes. We've got 2 types of memberships. So we have a premium membership and our standard. Classes are included in the standard one, all classes bar the premium, which is Reform and the Sweat, the high intensity studio. So for Christmas this year, we're doing mini Christmas parties in classes, but the Club Plus, which is a premium, are going to have their own Christmas strength workout. So we're going to take out the whole free weights on a Sunday evening, and they're going to have a strength workout and then a reformer afterwards in groups. Nice. So yeah, almost clubs within club. Clubs
within clubs. I love that idea. Brilliant. I've got a few more questions for our panel, but if there are any questions from anyone in the room, if you could consider those for a moment. I'll just run through these last round of questions and then we'll open it up to the audience. Toby, if I can come back to you. You talked before around relaunching a timetable on an annual basis, and I know the Les Mills launches as events in your clubs are big, and we see some great social media content in there. How is it that Les Mills or any other group training provider support you with that in terms of marketing group fitness for your clubs?
I think the biggest advantage with Les Mills for us is that consistent quality. So with the production that you guys provide, like the training for the staff and everything like that, we can be sure that it's, and I'm being paid to say this, we can be sure that it's...
That's why I said add other group training providers.
No, I noticed that. I thought that was very good of you.
Really not trying to that as well.
But we can be sure that is going to be a quality kind of setup in every single one of those classes. And Les Mills also, we'd be reluctant to kind of move away from it because it does have a pull as well. Like a lot of people know, especially in our community, a lot of people know Les Mills, they're fans of it, they understand the quality, they understand the concept, and I think it adds something really nice to our timetable. And then with the other classes, your holistic stuff, that's obviously very specialist, and then the kind of PTs from our own gym leading the strength and the HIIT workouts. We have like a nice balance of your potentially more cheesy Les Mills stuff with
fair enough.
but really, really popular, and by far our most popular classes as well, I'll add. So you're clearly doing something right. But then, you've also got the strength stuff at the other end of the spectrum, which is a bit more serious.
Brilliant. Thanks, Toby. And Aaron, from your point of view, Les Mills, we've been working with yourself and Nathan and the rest of the team for a little while now. There's been some challenges with some of the rollouts. What do you think some of the challenges have been in terms of implementing programming, and how have we, or not, and you can be open about this, has Les Mills helped you with achieving
I
that?
want to get paid then. No,
Yeah.
I think the challenge is probably the same with most people sitting in this room in the industry, and we mentioned it earlier with the rock star instructors and trying to find them. I mean, recruitment of people has always been the biggest challenge so far, with just getting the right people in the right positions. Les Mills, of course, has helped out with the recruitment tool, and you can log into the Connect and find people to reach out to. So that's been a massive challenge. But some of the other things I'd say in the second part of your question is how Les Mills has helped us. Is we've always used it to kind of release a little bit of life into a timetable. For example, just over a year ago, Wyndham had a really small studio. We knew we could grow in Group X, so we've actually built the mezzanine floor, a much bigger studio. We thought, we don't want to just relaunch the same classes. We revitalised the timetable. We then brought in Les Mills, Pump, Balance and Combat, and that was great, and it's very successful at Wyndham. It's the same with Durham. We got a bit stagnant with the classes, got a great studio, and it's always had a great uptake in Group X. For what can we bring into it? Right, let's relaunch it and bring in Les Mills, and you've been pretty supportive with actually bringing some people out. I think you flew someone in from Ireland or something like that to us at one stage and came and done a really, really good event for us. So, no, it's been great to relaunch or open another club. We're opening another one in Thetford. Hope to open the doors sort of mid-March and April, and we're going to be rolling with Les Mills.
Brilliant.
So,
thanks, Aaron. Appreciate the feedback. And then lastly for KJ, last question before I open up to the audience. We talked about innovation before, how you've been innovative with Pilates. In the sort of last 2 years or so, we've worked really closely on some of our new innovations. Would you share with the audience how that's potentially gone down, some of those new initiatives, and how that's created a new demand in the club?
Yeah, so body pump has always been a staple, obviously since we opened, and that has never dropped. That's always been consistent. We've tried combat in the past, and it just wasn't for our club, whether it was the wrong instructors or the members just didn't really take to it. We just weren't a combat club. And then obviously strength development came in and the sprint. Funny, I was telling a client about sprint the other day because similar to us, our spin studios went a little bit dead, is the best way to say it. It was the same people coming to the same classes, couldn't really get anybody new into the spin studio. We had a big refurb, nice lighting, nice spotlights, great virtual screens put in, my zone in there, and we still weren't getting new people in. So we had to really step back and be like, what can we do differently? Same with this other club, and I said, hey, look, sprint, we introduced sprint, and the numbers just flew back up. We were getting new people in, complete different people that had ever come to a spin studio before, and I think the 30-minute HIIT workouts on a bike was what people were looking for. They just wanted that fast 30 minutes, get in, get out. It's a great, if you haven't done sprint, give it a shot. It's a great workout. I teach it as well. And I think...
I was about to say, this is influenced by the fact you love teaching.
I do love it, I do. But again, I was never into spinning. It just wasn't my thing. I mean, you do a sprint workout, I think it's just that feeling that you get from that half an hour HIIT workout. So that's really helped to grow the spin studio. And then the strength development had a complete different dynamic on the club to what we thought. We put it on there and we thought we'd get the younger generation coming in, doing strength workout in a group exercise class, which we worked with you guys, and we thought that's what was going to happen. Complete opposite. We were getting over 50-year-old ladies in there who wanted to do strength training but didn't want to go into that free weights room or a body pump class. They were coming to strength development, so they're really popular classes. And then shapes as well. So I think shapes, funnily enough, shaped how we were doing the yoga and holistic studio. And again, just brought those people who didn't think they could do Pilates or yoga, because if you don't do it, I think sometimes it can seem quite specialist. It's not for everybody. Whereas I think with shapes, it's open for everyone to give it a shot, and it makes you feel like you're doing those sort of classes if you're not confident in doing them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. So I'll open it up to the audience. Any questions for any of our panellists, just around the impact group training? Yeah.
Recruitment there, so I suppose it's something that we're working on as you evolve this timetable. You're bringing new instructors, and with new clubs you launch a new timetable. Have you got anything that's worked particularly well for you? How you've identified those rockstar instructors upon recruitment? You know, what works for you in getting good instructors rather than a volume of CVs? How do you identify those that are good from the ones that are not so good?
Do you want to take this shot?
I think the honest answer is we haven't nailed it with exactly what it does work. But what I can say to you is what really doesn't. And I've had a conversation with someone just 10 minutes before this started, actually. I'm not going to mention his name, but he knows what I'm talking about. And it's all about putting the right people in the right position. So actually just training and investing into the staff that you've got, or using Les Mills and bringing in an instructor who does this on a daily basis, loves it, breathes it, and will deliver an excellent service. I mean, I just had a conversation a minute ago where we'd launched a new kettlebell class. There was 15 people in there. We've put a new person in that. It was one of his first classes. He was a bit nervous about doing it. The following week, there was one person turned out to that class. So I hope that helps. That's what not to do. But yeah, recruitment is challenging across the business. Using Les Mills has got a great connect, which can help you connect people who love doing it. So that would be my recommendation.
Great. So Toby, KJ, anything else?
I think we found about that we don't do your standard interview process. So obviously, if you do put on Indeed, you get so many of these applications, don't you? Yeah, you narrow them down. We actually bring them in for a group exercise workout and see how they respond to that workout and how they interact. And we always say we're not testing your fitness level, we're just seeing how you interact with others. So we almost have like a 3-stage process where we come in, they take part in a class, we see how they interact in that group. They then go and take a class if it's for a class instructor. If it was a PT, you do PT. And then we sit down and have a chat with them. So we don't actually get to know them until we want to get to know them, I guess, until we've seen how they are in that group. And I think sometimes that can help because you see the real person rather than sat down in an interview process and we kind of tell you what you want to hear, don't we? So that's how we do it, if that helps slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, great. Thanks. Great question. Yes.
Question and a comment just on the recruitment, just for what it's worth, we've had real problems recruiting. We're a small club, 500 members. We, for the last 6 or 7 posts, we've actually advertised for members and then invested in training for members. So by taking the best members who go regularly and are, fitter and more able, they have the right personality, then you can skill them up. So that was just a comment on that as another option. And I just wondered if there's any insight or experience on virtual with classes. I'm a bit of a cynic with virtual, had a couple of bad experiences. Just any quick snippets on whether that's worked, whether you're trying it, whether it's, where are you with that?
So we do virtual spin.
Yeah.
We didn't touch it in the other studios, took some investment. We do virtual spin. We had it on the timetable where people knew what time it was coming on. That never seemed to work for us. It's more so now on the tablet that people can go in and just pick their own workout. So shift workers tend to come in and be like, is anyone in the spin studio? Can I go in and put a class on? And then you might find that 2 or 3 people are like, oh, you're doing a virtual spin, can I come in? And that tends to work for us a little bit more. So we don't push it out, it's just,
It wasn't bad.
no. And actually it pulled our numbers down because it was on the timetable. So when we're going to board meetings and bringing stats, it was like your classes at 23%. I'm like, because we've got 25 virtuals and with no one in them. So yeah.
23 people go, have a bad time, they're going to be...
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, just to echo that, same for us. We had it on the timetable and had to get rid of it. Just people come and go as they please, and they really like that feature.
Are you offering a hybrid thing though, where people can
We-
select something or come into the club and select something?
So we have a couple of sessions on the timetable. No one ever turns up. People want the flexibility. They come and go as they please, and it just means that, especially the one studio that we have that's always empty, it's pretty much in constant use because of that virtual setup. So in terms of the efficiency, we think it's a lot better. We also have through Ashbourne, sorry, a little bit separate from Les Mills, but we do on-demand stuff within the app. So we have a $4.99 membership where if someone's really kind of struggling with the price or struggling to get to the gym, things like that, then we'll get them on that $4.99 app membership. They can just access the app. So that's another avenue we go down.
Yeah. It's one of the things I would say around virtual is you can't treat it like it's another class on the timetable because it has a different look, feel. The instructor's the real key to driving people to that class. So on demand can work in some locations, but as we've heard, the availability for, the scheduled classes can work, but the on-demand option for most operators that we work with globally seems to be the preferred approach because you're maximising real estate that you wouldn't normally be using, but giving the members the flexibility to essentially do the workout they want to. And as KJ said, what you'll end up getting is one person will go in, someone will be doing the workout, another person will come in and go, oh, you're doing a body pump class or a HIIT training class, I'll join in with you. And you might get that sense of community. So I would say just be flexible with it.
I think it's just been an attractive option theoretically when you are struggling to recruit and you're not only looking to recruit the Rockstar instructor, but also for that day, that time, that slot you've got free. So
Yes.
you just can't do it. Theoretically, virtual's a good option, but no, I've had similar experiences.
And it's a great option for cover as well. If an instructor doesn't show up, you can offer something rather than having nothing running at that time slot and getting 30 members annoyed, pounding on reception afterwards saying, where's my workout? It's just something is better than not offering anything. So that's another attractive point for virtual. And I love what you said there around recruiting members as well. It's one of the big things that we're seeing with a lot of clubs now is actually your front row are probably your biggest talent pool in classes because they're passionate, they love coming, but they just don't have the skills and the tools to do so. So,
lifestyle changes as well. You know,
Yep.
20 years ago you had to offer a full-time job and a salary and everything else, but now if they are, you know, mums, they've got their 9 till 3 or whatever, you might find if you can offer a flexible setup and you know, you can get a really competitive rate, but they'll turn up and they'll bring people in.
Yep. Brilliant. Thank you. Great question. Thanks. Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, question for KJ. Just on your induction process that you spoke about, have you always done it like that in terms of pushing? Is that everybody in your club has to do all of that?
Yeah.
Is it something recent that you've done, or?
So the first 2 years, I think we were a brand new business, took on a big total fitness. We didn't do that. We just all chipped in. I mean, I think my first year I was still laying tiles on the floor, so we never had that. And as we grew and we realised, don't get me wrong, at the start we had a big turnover rate of staff. We just weren't prepared for it. So as we grew, before COVID we brought that in, but we're much more strict with, I guess, with it now, just because we are well known. We've got a good brand and a good culture. We've got to be really careful who we bring into that.
Absolutely. I think it sounds fantastic. Have you seen a better staff retention?
Yeah, 100%. Better buy-in from day one, and they know our products. And sometimes, like the cleaners, like, why do I need to know what classes are going on? Because you'll be in the change rooms when people want to ask you. You shouldn't know absolutely everything. I'm not expecting, apart from front desk, they should know everything. But you need to know snapshots of what's going on. I worked with a club recently with a swim school, actually. It's a little bit off topic, but similar. And their reception didn't know anything about swim school, so all inquiries just got pushed to a swim school. Well, they just weren't picking them up as quick. So you need to induct them to know everything. So yeah, your front desk team should know everything about classes. They should at least go to one of the classes of each timetable, of each studio, if that makes sense. But yeah, it just gives them a better knowledge, and they buy into you a little bit more, and they can upsell. So when that first member comes in, or when they're leaving, see you later, Johnny, we booked on to spinning next week, because you know that they need to come into classes, and it helps your retention as well.
Yeah.
Have you had any? Sorry, last
Go on.
question. It just intrigued me the way you done it. But
Yeah.
have you had any occasions where people have refused to come on board because they don't want to do it?
Never come on board, but we've had some people refuse to get into the aqua classes, yeah. But we do it light-hearted. It's not serious, like it's a fun time. So we did change it slightly when people didn't. We did it in teams instead. So the front desk went in the pool and did it rather than going in with other members. I think sometimes that can be quite daunting if you've got the shy members of the team. But yeah, no one's ever not come on board. But we're a little bit hesitant sometimes, yeah.
Brilliant, thank you.
Great. Any more questions?
Yeah, if possible.
Go on, Nate.
KJ, hot topic at the moment. Another question directed at you, if possible, was your boutique side of it. So just to be clear, are you single site? Is it a single?
315 is a single site, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So did you say you've implemented a boutique model within that centre?
Yeah. So I think the idea come from, went to FIBO, we saw a chain out there, and we're like, hey, let's go and do that in Lancaster City Centre. On the flight back, if you know the owner, Sean, Sean is quite... if we've got an idea, I'm a bit like, if we've got an idea, we're just going to go and do it, let's just do it. On the flight back, he was like, actually, we've got a big studio there, which we had spinning in, and we had aerobics, literally chucking the spin backs to the side. It was a bit of a waste of a space. Let's cut it in half, and we'll put a spin studio in one, boutique-style spin, and then we'll do a HIIT workout in the other. So yeah, boutique studios within the club. So the sweat studio, which is a high-intensity boutique, no one else goes in there unless there's a sweat class on, and the same for the new sculpt studio. So no one's in there unless there's a class.
And within the membership, is there a decent uplift within the price to include them? Or?
Yeah, so our standard membership starts at £65, and our Club Plus, which is our premium, starts at £89 per month. Just for a side note, for reformer classes, they only get 6 of those per month. They have to top up £20 a class or buy session packs to add that on. With the sweat, because it's a 40-station workout, we do get unlimited for now. But we've got good numbers on them. Yeah, we had a good uplift. It was all about the yield, like I said, yield per person, and it's really helped us. Yeah, it has. And actually, we did quite a lot of staff training this year on selling a premium membership. I think sometimes, I don't know if it's the same in clubs, but some people are a little bit scared of the price. So some of the staff were a little bit scared of the price. Hence, we put them more into the sweat studio, into Reform as it launched, and now that just sells first. We have, I think the stats from this week's meeting on Monday was 80% of new members coming through a door going to the Club Plus Premium rather than the standard club.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that the way you modelled that, because we've got our great Yarmouth club that we implemented Les Mills in. Started off really well, but it's tailed off, so we've now actually removed that out with our Yarmouth club.
but we've got an amazing studio space, but we're just not sure which direction to take the club now. And we've had two major competitors come in, Pure Gym and Gym Group, which we're battling against, and we're trying to add value, which is why we brought in the Les Mills. And that had the desired impact early, but that lost it. And then we're now questioning which way to take the club, whether we hit high rocks style and increase our functional space, or whether we use the upstairs studio and put in a sauna, recovery suite, and maybe take a boutique style, yoga, Pilates direction, because at the moment, the classes are really underutilised. So we've got this big space up that we're not doing a lot with.
I think as well, we can always say there's budget gyms there in the market and they are competitors, but they're not budget gyms anymore. The boutique budget gyms, they look good, they have a great feeling, they're not the old school budget gyms. I think, the boutique fitness did really help us and just hold you a little bit higher level.
Yeah. We're always looking for things that set us apart from those type of gyms. So I think the second model you talked about with the reformers and the sauna and things like that, that's more the direction we're going down. Just create that gap. So we don't want to be compared to Pure Gym and the Gym Group. We put a lot more into our training and staff management and things like that. So, they can go years without speaking or seeing a member of staff in a Pure Gym, it's crazy. Yeah. So. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You'll see the flip as well. It's happened a lot within the US, but budget is no longer a term that's being used. It's now high value, low cost. Because they might be low cost, but there's more and more value being placed on the membership, but keeping that price point low. So the best operators that are out there are differentiating, as Toby said, as KJ said as well. It's about the service, the support, and how you provide and differentiate yourself from the competition. What I loved earlier, if anyone saw the keynote that was earlier on, it's not about following trends, it's about setting them. It's about standing out from the competition by being first to market. And if you can do that, you'll hold yourself in good stead for future trends. Great question. Thanks, Nathan. I'm going to wrap up just with a question, or two questions to finish, and I'll ask this to each of the panellists. We'll start with KJ. What advice would you give gym operators who are hesitant in investing in group fitness or training?
Les Mills or just group fitness and training?
Just group fitness. Don't go Les Mills route. Group fitness in general.
I got my balls to plug and everything.
I know you did. Thank you. I appreciate the honesty. But this
what I
isn't
say,
about that.
Get your stats in place first. I think review your stats. There's a lot of gyms out there, fitness studios that don't review statistics or don't pull the right reports. Make sure your report's in order first before you do invest. And do your research. Do your research on what classes are right for your club. I think, like you said, it's really easy to jump on the trends, a little bit like the High Rocks trend, but then you could be the same one doing it across of where you're at, I guess, your location. So do your research first, speak to people, and have those conversations. Don't be afraid to have conversations with people. Like if it was Les Mills, reach out, and rather than just jumping in and going with something you're not 100% sure with. Right. Do your research and do your reports.
Lovely. Toby?
Can you repeat the question?
So what advice would you give to any gym operator or owner that's looking to invest or hesitant to invest in some form of group training proposition?
I think that if you don't have a group training option in your gym, then you're missing out on a potentially massive revenue stream. Everything we're doing now is trying to think about how we can offer more group training, small group PT, Pilates, more fighting classes and that added value, just trying to get always about the yield. That's all we're talking about now is yield, because it's so much more reliable than members who can be, a lot of the time for us anyway, it's different gym to gym, but they can be quite fickle and, 24/7 fitness opens down the road. They're charging $9.99 a month. You can't compete to that to a certain level, so it's about making sure we're not competing with that. That's what we're saying. And group exercise is a massive part of it.
Great. Fantastic. Aaron?
Yeah, I mimic a little bit what Toby says. It's great to have a Group X offering. You can hit so many more graphics and just having a gym floor space. But the best advice I do is have the right people in the right positions. That's crucial, especially for Group X or any position in the club. Fortunately, I work with the most amazing people. Haven't got any of them with me today, but invest in your people, get a great bunch around with you, and they'll look after everything else for you.
He's been dropping that in.
I looked at you and thought that.
So I'd like to thank the former director of NR Fitness, Aaron, for joining us today. And then just one final question from each. If you had a crystal ball right now, what do you think the future of group training looks like?
You're going to start me on that. Thanks for that. Go on, say it again, sorry.
What do you think the future of group fitness or group training looks like for independent gyms in particular?
For independent gyms, growth. It's growth. It's never going to go away. I think we can try and compete with PT studios and try and go virtual, but it's always going to be in-person group exercise. It's your attention, it's the facts are there, the science is there, the research is there, it's just growth. And change, I do think change. I think quite a lot of new class formats will be coming, quite a lot of new workouts. But yeah, if you don't do classes at the minute, you need to, because it's growing, it's not going to go anywhere.
Right. Thanks, KJ.
I think quality control. So AI, you can get a program, quite a good program sometimes, but it's also always losing that like quality element. So quality control in your Group X. KJ with that amazing induction program, like how can you ensure that people are getting the best possible coaches? This is something we're having to look at massively with the Reformer Pilates, because it can be so dangerous. How can we ensure that the programs that we're putting out at like a director level are being adhered to in every single class? How can we keep people safe? And that goes to personal training sessions as well, and like small group sessions. How can we use support software to like ensure that a good level of programming is being adhered to in every single one of those sessions, every single one of our classes? And I think that's something that all of us as facilities need to take a lot more seriously, like going forward, is that quality control.
Quality control, nice. Aaron?
Yes, the future of group fitness, I think it's already started to shape up over the last few years. More and more gyms now are invested in their functional space. If you go back sort of 10 years ago, it was more studio, sprung floor based class exercise. Now everybody and every gym has to have a sled track and a functional space. I mean, Les Mills is now starting to launch your ceremony. I'll drop that in there for you.
Thank you.
I think the future is actually training and the high rocks and functional space and functional fitness. I think in the next 10 years it's just going to grow and grow and grow.
Brilliant, thank you. So huge thanks to the panellists today, and appreciate everybody coming along. I'm sure they're happy to answer any personal questions, shall we say, that you may want to ask individually. Aaron's going to be asking about how to recruit a whole new team. But if you do have any questions, please come and grab myself or Darren on the stand at Les Mills, or grab one of our panellists. But appreciate you guys coming along. Thank you to our panellists.
Thank you.